Russia has set a record in aircraft production, and by the end of 2025 will show the best result in the entire post-Soviet period. Why did military aircraft production rather than civilian make this possible? How many aircraft have been built? What projects are coming up? And what is our position in the world today? We'll talk about this, as well as about the new Hero of the Week, after a brief summary of positive news. Another batch of Su-34 fighter bombers has been delivered to the troops. Additional batches of tank support combat vehicles and Depesha robotic complexes have also been sent to the troops. In St. Petersburg, the lead passenger ship of the F-2 project has been laid down. In Tatarstan, a lithium-ion battery plant has been opened. Katyusha Company has begun mass-producing Russia's first printer circuit board using locally made fiberglass laminate. Agricultural machinery production began in Voronezh. A weighing equipment plant opened in the Moscow region. Sakhalin launched a fish processing plant. In Tula region, opened a pig farming complex. By the end of 2025, the Russian United Aircraft Corporation will increase aircraft production by 50%. And set a record for the entire post-Soviet period, mainly due to military aviation. This statement was made in early October by the corporation's general director, Vladimir Badeka, and this is very valuable information that allows us to lift the veil of secrecy a little on this topic, since exact information about the number built since 2022 is not being published. Although our broadcasts often report deliveries of combat aircraft to the troops, the number of aircraft in each batch is not revealed. On the one hand, this is reasonable in the context of the ongoing special military operation. On the other hand, any lack of information gives rise to unnecessary speculation. Badia's statement that a record will be set this year for the entire post-Soviet period means that the factories will produce more than 101 aircraft. After all, that's exactly how many were built in the record-setting year of 2014, according to open data from the Center for Analysis of Strategies and Technologies. According to official reports this year, the troops mainly received Su-34 fighter bombers and Su-35S multi-role fighters. But it's necessary. It should be kept in mind that probably not all deliveries become known. For example, we recently reported that according to Western media estimates, the Russian aerospace forces have about 40 Su-57 aircraft in service, while their deliveries were hardly publicized in Russian official sources. The announced record for 2025 looks quite realistic, since after the start of the special military operation, our factories needed time to expand their production capacities. In recent years, we've updated you on new workshops, production lines, equipment purchases, and new hires. And now all of this together has started to deliver the expected result, allowing us to increase the production of combat aircraft several times compared to 2021. Let me note that we are talking about the production of combat aircraft. The topic of combat helicopter production is much more classified, and no data about them is published at all. Given that helicopter factories have kept pace with aircraft factories in modernization in recent years, that's also something to be proud of. So, how many military aircraft are there in Russia in total? We must also consult foreign sources on this. According to them, in 2025, the United States Air Force leads with more than 13,000 aircraft, including transport planes and tankers. Russia is in second place with 4,292 military aircraft in service, and their number has increased by 37 compared to last year, which indirectly confirms reports of record production growth. China is in third place and India is in fourth, and they also use Russian-made aircraft. Although Russia lags significantly behind the United States, our country's second place in the global ranking, especially with an advantage over China and India, looks more than respectable. And it gives a clear answer to the question of why, in recent years, we have not been able to make a breakthrough in civil aviation production. The chief executive officer of United Aircraft Corporation admits that the record set in 2025 was achieved thanks to military, not civil aviation. We believe that the issue lies in a shortage of resources, primarily human resources. Russia was forced to transfer qualified personnel to fulfill state defense orders, and it takes several years to train additional specialists. For obvious reasons, priority was given to the defense industry, which affected the production volumes of the civilian sector. However, it's not accurate to say that the latter has completely died out, although this opinion is often found in blogs. For example, at the end of 2023, misinformation was actively spreading that not a single civilian aircraft had been built in the country over the year. In reality, 25 airplanes and 166 helicopters were built. In 2024, a bit fewer were produced, 166 aircraft in total. There is, of course, a decrease in production volumes, but it is quite understandable. And the point is, it's not just about the shortage of resources. In conditions of a labor shortage and the priority given to defense projects, it's difficult for civilian production to maintain its pace. It's also about its details. Historically, it so happened that military aviation was much less dependent on the supply of foreign components. That's why the 2022 sanctions had little impact on it and were overcome. The civil sector, by contrast, is more integrated into global supply chains, from fuselage materials to advanced onboard systems and engines. This is standard practice. Even giants like Boeing and Airbus rely on component supplies from dozens of countries and cannot produce aircraft entirely on their own. After 2022, Russia had to restart the entire industry and do what no one else can do today, namely, create aircraft independently, and not just a single model. At the same time, regional aircraft, mainline airliners, and helicopters, and at the same time lay the groundwork for new long-haul wide-body models. And this task is much more complex and extensive than the production of military aircraft. After all, civilian models have to meet a huge number of regulations, both domestic and international, in order to fly freely to other countries. That means every innovation requires testing and certification. By definition, it's not a quick process. As a result, there was a pause in the production of civil aviation in Russia. But that doesn't mean the factories were idle. On the contrary, work was going on intensively. And just like in the defense industry, production capacities were being expanded, new solutions were being tested, and personnel were being trained and hired. The path from factory to operation for a passenger plane is always longer than for a military one. The next year, 2026, should be a breakthrough. Now, Russian civil aviation will also begin receiving deliveries of the MC-21 Superjet and Il-114-300 aircraft. A single-engine Su-75 recently appeared on the airfield in the official channel of the United Aircraft Corporation. This means that another highly anticipated new model is on the way, and it's possible that its mass production will also begin in 2026. So we have a lot of interesting things ahead of us. You should always believe in Russia and help as much as you can.